Hello, as you probably know, there was a magnitude 8 earthquake near the Solomon Islands on February 6th. What's interesting about this is actually the sequence of earthquakes began probably about a week ago, it would seem. Santa Cruz Islands, we got a 6.0, a few days later, well, the next day, 6.2, and then we got a 6.0, 2 days after that, and another 6.4, 6.3, okay, 6.0. These are pre-shocks, if you like, but it's actually something else going on, I'd guess. But a couple of days of nothing. 6.3, 8.0. They call these aftershocks, but obviously it's part of a larger event. Okay, let's have a quick look at the seismographs. This is as they appeared about 5 hours after the event. This is yesterday. As you can see, this is registered all around the world. And we have the Solomon Islands, obviously showing up quite significant movement there. Mariana Islands, Guam. Western Australia is also quite significant. Kermadec Islands, not too far away, it's north of New Zealand. Of course, Kairori, New Zealand, it's all showing quite a lot. Taiwan's actually quite dark, isn't it? Okay, let's have a quick look at Earthquake 3D. We'll take it back to yesterday, where we had this 8.0. There you have it there. If we go back a few more days, you see some others in the Pacific, especially around the Northern Pacific. And pretty quiet, really, for the rest of the world. It's all Pacific action here. Okay. So what's interesting about this, if we go to the NOAA website and look at the buoys, the event appeared to begin in the Northern Pacific, and we were registering a 25-meter sea level change at one of the buoys in the Northern Pacific. Except that obviously the sea level didn't change by 25 meters, more likely the sea floor moved horizontally. And as this buoy is changed to the sea floor, it measured a change in sea level based on that movement. That's what I assume must be going on, because we obviously haven't got these big tsunamis, 25-meter tsunamis going across the Pacific. And why is it only certain buoys that are showing this? Look at some others. This is much less significant, but if Hawaii, we've got registering around 20 meters up and down. Well, more likely it's a horizontal movement, not a vertical movement. Okay, of course, here, just north of Papua New Guinea, again we're measuring about a 20-something meter movement. And down here, it's much less. And if we go down right near to Vanuatu, we'll find actually it's significant, but much less than what we had in the Northern Pacific or Hawaii, for example, or Papua New Guinea. So, but this is where the earthquake occurred. This is where they're expecting the tsunami to have come from. But it seems like a day earlier, as we see on this buoy up here, is when this movement all began. Down in New Zealand, we're registering it as well, actually later. So it seems like there's a movement that went across the Pacific, maybe a horizontal movement of some sort, heading north to south across the Pacific seafloor. If we have a quick look at our earthquake tides and alignments chart, you'll see that about 24 hours before the earthquake, the 8.0, we had this big movement in the Northern Pacific. And if we have a look at the buoy near Hawaii, you'll find this is actually quite a common occurrence. I'll take out the earthquakes here. As you can see, that's the spike. In the case of Hawaii, the spike in sea level actually occurred almost simultaneous with the earthquake. And we had the same sort of event back on January 5th. We have a big spike in sea levels, simultaneous to an earthquake. And we go back a bit further. We see this has happened also on October 28. So big sea level movements with big earthquakes. But of course the seas didn't rise. So like I say, it would suggest that it must be a horizontal movement, not a vertical movement of the sea floor. Okay, just have a check to see where the moon was in the sky relative to the Earth. As you can see, we're actually not far from this alignment between the Earth, Moon, and the Milky Way galactic core. And of course, in the other direction, we've got Orion. That's the top of Orion there. Betelgeuse and stuff is below us. Pleiades over here to the right. Interestingly enough, if we have a look, you'll find that we're actually pretty close to alignment with Sirius. Okay, so let's zoom in to the Earth, and as you can see, this is the position of the Earth at the time of the earthquake relative to the Moon. Of course, the Sun was shining on this part of the Earth at the time of the earthquake. Let's go to the Sun. Okay, the Earth is coming into Leo here. Let's go into the Earth from the Sun. Well, that's interesting. The closest point of the Earth to the Sun is actually pretty close to the Solomon Islands. That's quite interesting. Of course, this event appears to have been building up for about a week, and it might go on for another week. But this is the time at which it snapped, if you like. So what I guess would be the underlying cause of this series of events? Well, I suspect it might be Comet Ison coming into our solar system, an electrically charged body entering our solar system. Even though we're not in direct alignment with it, we'll have to wait and see. But it's about here somewhere. Sorry, I haven't got the orbital elements loaded for Ison, but its location would be around here somewhere. As you can see, the Earth is above Orion here, and Ison is actually over here. So the Earth and Moon are actually coming up to aligning with Ison, and we have to wait and see. Maybe we get more events like this as Ison gets closer. Unfortunately, some people lost their lives with this earthquake. However, we can also consider ourselves lucky that there was no big tsunami that came with it. Okay, thank you for watching.